Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Solar Fit Renewable Energy Show. This is Bill Gallagher. I'm here with my partner, Gloria Edison. Hello, Gloria. Welcome to the show.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I hope everyone's having a wonderful start to the weekend. We've got a very special guest today, Tanya Warfield. Tanya, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. I'm glad to be here.
This is exciting to have you on. Tanya is a holistic health and life coaching expert, and she's actually in our studio today joining us, and we're really happy to have you. You know, we talk about renewable energy, we talk about healthy lifestyles, everything on this show, and one of our things that's near and dear to our heart is health and wellness. So thanks for joining us today. And Gloria, thanks for linking up. Where did you guys meet? At the BNI?
Yes, we did.
Okay, talk about the BNI a little bit.
Well, I went as a guest about 3 weeks ago or so, and I do remember your introduction. Everyone goes around the room and introduces yourselves and what you do, your businesses, and yours was the most exciting, vibrant introduction, Gloria. You popped up from your seat and very enthusiastically, and you showed your one of your solar panel pieces, and I was in awe because it was so small, and you said that it could power a lot that I didn't I didn't expect, but that was exciting. I definitely remembered you off the bat.
Well, this BNI has really turned out great, hasn't it, Gloria?
It sure has. I really enjoy the group. It's quite a large group down here in Daytona Beach. I think we have almost 60 members in the BNI. That's a Business Networking International, so it's actually an international group. We have cross networking that we can do all over. So it's really a great group.
Great bunch of entrepreneurs getting together to create wellness. And speaking of wellness, okay, Tanya, first, if you don't mind, let's go back into a little history about you. Where were you brought up? How'd you end up down here?
I am a South Louisiana native. I was born and raised there in Cajun country, and that meant I ate some really good food. And I moved to Florida a week after my 21st birthday, 20 years ago. It'll be 20 years this year. And I just came to Florida on a whim. I enjoyed my childhood. I had a very fun childhood, but I just felt like I had to get out. I had a friend moving here, so I came here. Have been loving Florida. I went to school for graphic and web design. I had a business doing that for about 6 to 7 years. And I then became pregnant and had a son in 2011. And I kind of slowed my business down for that reason. I couldn't build websites anymore with him at home unless I didn't want to sleep. But before that, 2 years prior to having him, my husband and I had gotten pregnant before that, and I had a miscarriage. And that same year, I lost my mother at 60 years old to a heart attack. And before that, I had watched her mom suffer with diabetes, obesity. She had her leg amputated. My grandfather, her husband, had a stroke 1 year. He was hardworking in his farm, and he was bedridden for 1.5 years before passing away. My other grandparents, my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and one of her youngest daughters also had it, who passed away before she did. And this pattern, all these events that happened, just had me questioning. You know, I thought I would live a long, healthy life, but it wasn't looking good. It wasn't looking good for me. And when I had the miscarriage, it really started me on my health journey. Actually, even before that, I started with researching my dog's food and realizing it was made of a ton of stuff that he was not supposed to be digesting. GMO corn, GMO soy. And then I learned later, after watching food documentaries, that our food is made a lot of the same way. And so learning more, researching, so I've had about 14 years of research under my belt. And this became my passion. I was doing this research instead of building my websites, right? So it was dragging me, and I wanted to follow that passion. So I did end up going back to work at a job here in Daytona, and did it for about 2.5 years, and I found the perfect health coaching school that fit me. And I'm finished my certification last summer, and now I'm in the graduate program, getting even more deeper with the psychology of the health coaching. I do the transformational coaching method with my clients, and I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to be doing this work and serving people and helping them get their lives back and get their health back.
It's incredible, the stories that we hear, how people become involved in different career paths, and that one really touches your heart with the illness and things that went on in your family, and inspiring you to take up a path that's helping others. That's fantastic, isn't it, Gloria?
Yeah, it is. I think in a lot of ways it touches all of us, because even though it may have been maybe affected you in your family members had been younger, it's still, as we age, we see it all around us in our families, and we're reminded every time we go to the doctor, who's got what in your family. So it does bring it right back to ground zero. What am I doing?
Exactly.
You turn the clock back 40 years, 50 years, boy, it was completely different back then. It was you didn't really see people eating sugars and all these other types of foods that have now become mainstays. That you can't turn the TV on, you don't see ads for something that really isn't healthy for you. And then you segue into the medicines, and it's incredible, the ads for the medicines. I mean, by the time you hear all the side effects, the ad's over. They got to do 2 minute to minute just to talk about the side effects. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Yes.
So what you're doing is very, very important. So let's talk about some of the people that come to you and how you can help them. You talked a little bit about diabetes, okay, which is a terrible disease, and I don't know if we're gaining on some cures for it. But if somebody's suffering from it now and they come to you, how can you help them?
Sure. So with anyone with diabetes, it can be, they come to me and they've already seen their doctor, whether usually they're on medication, they're on insulin. I have a specific protocol that was co-created by Dr. Brian Mao. He is one of the diabetes expert doctors. He's got a couple of books out. And him and my school co-created the diabetes protocol. I have protocols for pretty much every of the top 11 health conditions available. So we go through, my main program is a 90-day program. And so leaving their doctor, they know, they've been told what to do, they've been told how to do it. But when we get home from our doctors, it's up to us to follow through. And behavior change is very difficult. We've been doing certain things for many, many years, and to make these habit changes, it can be extremely hard. So I also like to call myself a master of habit change, and I figure out where that patient, or as for me, my client is at that moment. We figure out where they are, what are they doing, we figure out where they want to go, what are their goals, and usually it may be their doctor's orders. They want them at a certain area. So I definitely work closely with the doctor and their suggestions and their recommendations. And we take small action steps throughout the program to get them acquiring a new routine that's going to work for them, that's going to last a lifetime. A lot of things such as diets, exercise programs, a lot of those are quick fixes and they don't last. We do it for a couple of weeks, we're gung-ho, and then we kind of fall off track. And so having the support and the accountability is the difference. And also having that system, that protocol to follow. Now every one of my clients are going to be different. We make a individualized plan. We come up with a strategy that's going to work for them.
I was cruising around your website, poking around today, looking at anticipating this interview, and one of the things is don't ever start a diet that has an expiration date. And
right.
I thought, wow. People start diets, and I'm on a diet right now, and about 2 weeks later, they're off the diet right now.
Absolutely.
Or maybe they've achieved a certain level, and they always end up going back. Is it very hard to change people's the way of thinking and to continue it long term?
Yes, it can be, and that's where I come in. I ask a series of questions, And where I see that there can be a shift in vision, I'll ask those certain questions, because sometimes we have a certain perspective and we may not see that answer. Even though it's deep inside of us, we all have answers inside of us. I help to uncover those answers and help to draw them out of the client. And once they come up, yes, behavior change can be difficult, but when we have a perspective change and a breakthrough, it makes it a lot easier.
Do you ever have any media training? What I'm saying is, if people are in the habit of watching TV and they're on a diet and they're constantly bombarded with, I saw one last night with Oreo cookies with some kind of red specks in Oreo cookies. Now, who would have thought that? Then they got an Oreo cookie now, this it's like, you can't watch TV without seeing something that probably is not really good for you.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, there's a lot of propaganda, and I think that it's a lot of brainwashing. But we have those habits, and I think that once you start shifting your habits in a more positive manner into a higher vibration where you want to, I give that space to my clients where they can step into the best version of themselves. And it's hard to find that. It's hard to find support in that manner. We may have a great spouse that provides that, but when you have someone that's helping to guide you through these steps, it's easier. And so as you start to modify your life, you question things. And so I believe that being that the media can be pretty negative at times, or not even negative, but just very manipulating. Here, we all have cravings, but we get down to the bottom of what those cravings mean. And so that helps as well. When you figure out, what do these cravings mean? Being curious about the craving. That's a huge thing.
Well, I know that when I mentioned that Oreo, that Gloria's eyes lit right up, so...
I know.
I don't let her talk. What do you think about that Oreo?
I like Oreos, but I like other things better than Oreos.
I think everything is okay in moderation.
Yes, absolutely.
I think sometimes, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but it seems like if you get in a habit of eating foods that maybe aren't good for you, it's really, really hard to stop. But when you get in the habit of eating things that are good for you, it's hard to eat things that are bad for you. Is that? Very
true. That's pretty much, yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. And there are some good alternatives. And I have a really big toolbox, so if you need to know, if someone's a potato chip lover, no worries, I'm not going to make you give up your potato chips. I'm not going to make you do anything. It's up to you. But there are some alternatives that I'm going to suggest. There are some great alternatives that are healthier.
What's a good one? You can't put a patch on, like for smoking, for a potato chip, right? What
right.
do you do for potato chips?
Well, you look for the oil, for number one. What was it cooked in? What type of oil? You want to stay away from vegetable oil, which is soybean oil, which is GMO. You want to stay away from corn oil, which is also GMO. And also stay away from, try to look for sunflower, safflower, or peanut oil is a good one if you're not allergic. And of course, avocado. There's some chips now with avocado oil. That's the best oil out there right now. So
as the chip itself is okay, I guess that's kind of just a starch, right? As
yes.
long as it's not cooked in something that's going to cause problems.
Yes, and like I said, if you don't want to give up your potato chips, find a better alternative. Think of it this way. There's a range of us. You can be on one end of the spectrum eating Twinkies every day, and then you can be on the other end of the spectrum where you're growing your own food and eating food that's whole, the way our grandparents and our parents used to eat. And as long as you're moving up the scale, wherever you are on that scale, if you're just moving 1% each day, making those small changes, it's going to add up tremendously in the end. Wow.
What about way to the other side of that? People that starve themselves. And, I mean, what about that? If somebody has that type of I don't know if it's an illness, but it's something that's causing them to not eat correctly and try to be thin. How do you? What was that like?
Anorexia.
Anorexia, right.
Anorexia.
Well, that comes with emotional. It's an emotional factor in there. And I have a whole protocol on emotional eating. And I have quizzes that I give to figure out where they are on that spectrum. And if we need to get down to the emotional level, we definitely do that. In all of my programs, we get down into there. If there comes a point where it's beyond my expertise, where I feel they need to work with a therapist, then I will invite one of my referral partners in and invite them to go and have an appointment with them as well.
Wow.
We want to work with it as a team.
That is really interesting. Well, folks, stay with us. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about health and wellness. Back with you soon. Hi folks, welcome back to the Solar Fit Renewable Energy Show. Bill Gallagher here with you with Gloria, my partner Gloria. Gloria, say hello.
Well, howdy doody.
Howdy doody, and we're here with Tanya Warfield, the Holistic Health and Life Coaching. Tanya, before the break, really interesting stuff about eating disorders, and gee, maybe I've got one, I'm not really sure, that the Oreo cookies and all that stuff. Let's dig in a little deeper and see what we can get in. Talk a little bit about brain and mood health. I think I need a little of that. What do you think, Gloria? She can't talk like always. She thinks she both needs it. Okay, talk about that. Brain and mood. What does that mean?
Yes, so I don't know if anyone's ever noticed, but when we go through our daily lives, you may experience something called brain fog. We run around from point to point and work to work, and we're inundated with stressors all day long, and the brain fog can tend to appear when we're just simply not taking care of ourselves and not allowing that downtime and that relaxation for ourselves. Plus, food can be a contributor as well. When we're running around, we want to grab the quickest thing to eat. And that could be the donuts in the afternoon that are sitting at the office when you have that crash in the afternoon. And that can go into blood sugar right there, which we can touch on later as well. But when you're on that blood sugar roller coaster, you get spiked up by coffee or sugar, and then what happens after that is you crash and then crave more sugar. And there's a polarity in food. You have food that can be grounding, which is more of our root vegetables, and also the heavier items like meat and salt. And then you have the foods that can be uplifting, which is more of the sugary items and alcohol. But we want to meet somewhere in the middle when we choose our foods and make our choices. So that keeps us balanced. And that keeps our blood sugar levels in check as well. Now, when it comes to brain and mood health, this could be a very big culprit, the way you're eating. If you're finding you're having brain fog, not remembering certain things. Now, we all go through another room and forget, oh, what did I come in here for? That's normal, or you left your keys somewhere, so that's normal. But if it's happening on a more regular basis, where you're constantly just there and just not tapping into that genius and that creativeness, because we all have creative side even though we don't think we do. We just have to tap into it. And so with brain and mood health, we look at the way you're working, the way you're doing things now, seeing what you're eating, seeing how you're living your life. Is there time to fit some self-care in? Take a bubble bath, go for a walk. When we have that downtime, we can show up for our jobs more productively. We can show up for our loved ones more fully. And not only are we taking care of ourselves, but just when we take care of ourselves first, it's like the oxygen mask. We put the oxygen mask on ourselves first on the airplane, and then we'll do our loved ones next. So we need to take care of ourselves and make sure we're getting time out and not just running from here to there, because all those factors will cause stress, and stress is a big factor as well.
Great explanation. What effect does exercise have on the whole mental health?
A tremendous effect. When we are exercising, we're moving the oxygen in our body. It's going through our blood. That goes through our brain health. That also has a lot to do with the lymphatic system. And when the lymphatic system gets moving, and that can just be taking a walk around the building during lunch, get that lymphatic system moving. That makes you think clearer, and just you're there, you're present more. A simple walk, it can be that. If you're sitting at the desk all day and not moving at all, that 10-minute walk is going to make a huge difference. If you're already doing something minor, maybe you're stretching in the morning or going for a run, wonderful. You can add a little more.
Wow. What do you think, Gloria?
Yeah, I need to be doing more of that, that's for sure. I got a little brain fog.
Wait till the interview's over, okay?
How'd I go?
Okay, she's going out there. Okay, what else can we talk about? Let's talk about, go ahead.
How about those 11 different items that are key items that are causing these major catastrophic issues in our health?
Yes.
How about celiac? Let's talk about that.
Yes.
A lot of people have developed that recently.
Absolutely. So when it comes to celiac, gluten, these are gluten intolerant people. And most of us are gluten intolerant. And I like to actually say, I don't believe it's just the gluten. This is actually, I like to call it a wheat intolerance. And what has happened with our wheat, the reason this is affecting us, the way that wheat is harvested today is so different than it used to be harvested back in the ancient times, back in the day, in our grandparents' generation. They actually, before they harvest wheat, they douse it with, I'm going to give it the scientific name, glyphosate, which is Roundup. They douse it with that. And this allows for it to all die at the same time so they can harvest it and produce our food products. That is what the culprit is in wheat. Yes, gluten has gotten a bad name, but the main thing is when you say that you're gluten-free, try to avoid all wheat products because that's the culprit. These pesticides that is on this, that has been causing our leaky gut. It causes a ton of different symptoms that we may not even realize that it's sourced from that, and it just compiles itself because our digestive systems are not able to digest the food properly.
Wow, that is scary. When I think of Roundup, I think of like a poison or something.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It kills the plants, so it's going to obviously do something inside of us.
So years ago, when these chemicals weren't available, people could eat wheat no problem. I mean, it was a mainstay. Now we've got some issues, right? I think that's why you see people, shopping at more health-related stores, or being very, very cautious about what they eat.
Yes, absolutely. When you look for a gluten-free product too, you need to make sure that it does not contain corn or soy, because then those are GMO, genetically modified, and we can go into that another date. But that is very similarly, those have been modified using chemicals that the seeds have grown with. And so gluten-free products are not always the best. Make sure it doesn't contain other trouble-causing ingredients.
What about autoimmune disease?
Yes, autoimmune is running rampant right now. And there are a lot of different diseases and illnesses that fall under that category. There is Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disorder. The hormone imbalance in general is what can be considered autoimmune. And what our bodies are doing is, because we have been putting these chemicals in our bodies, and stress has a lot to do with it too. The body it creates antibodies, and the body begins to attack itself, organ by organ. And the thyroid is one of the common organs that it starts to attack. But there are people out there that are not testing positive for thyroid disease, but they have all the symptoms of it. And so they do still put them on the medications. But there are ways to look at not just the food, but their lifestyle in order to get these symptoms down. Not only the symptoms, but that's an important part. I'm glad you brought that up. What we do and what I encourage people to do is seek out holistic doctors. Seek out those holistic doctors that are going to help you get to the root cause of your issues instead of trying to solve the symptoms. Because you can solve the symptoms all day long, but if you're not getting to the root cause, you're going to continue to live with that, and you're going to see new symptoms pop up.
So what now would you consider to be the most prevalent health problem that we're facing? What's the number one thing that people used to say, oh, heart disease. Now, what is it now? It's hard to identify.
It is hard to identify because there's so much of everything, and which is why I can't specialize in any one in particular. I find they're all in one basket, whether it's diabetes, heart disease, autoimmune, weight loss, even infertility. Infertility can be solved with in the same ways, looking at the lifestyle, seeing what's happening. Digestion issues, emotional eating like we mentioned earlier, hormonal imbalance, brain and mood health, adrenal health, that's a big one too. It's where they're just so ridiculously tired they have to take naps every day. And then of course the thyroid health. So some of these are kind of fall in the same category.
Wow. Well, you have such a wealth of information to give people. Tell us how can folks reach you? How can they best tap into your resources?
Yes, absolutely. My website is www.revivehealthcoaching.com, and you can also find me on Facebook. It's Revive Health Coaching with Tanya, and it's TONYA, and that's Revive, REVIVE, and I'm open to getting messages through that, and you can read about some of my programs on my website. And I try to keep up with the latest and greatest in the health industries. I follow a lot of the really known big doctors out there, like Dr. Hyman, Dr. Mercola, who's local here.
Well, there's a lot of education that goes into this, and you, like you say, you have a wealth of knowledge. Highly recommend that people give you a call. Is there a phone number to reach you, or just go to the website?
You can give me a call as well. My phone number is 407-595-1007.
Now, do they come to your clinic, or do you go to them, or how does that?
It works either way. Most of my sessions are on the phone, over the phone. If you are local, we can definitely meet in person. I have a couple of different offices that I will meet at.
So that's probably the best way. You don't do house calls, do you?
I haven't.
I know. I'll tell you, there's an industry you get into. Remember years ago, doctors used to do house calls? I'd love to have some over and say, oh, you know what? Get off the couch.
Yeah, it's the way we need to get back to the roots, knowing where our food comes from. That's huge. Yes, the way it used to be.
Eating healthy and exercising, and it's great advice to get out and move around during the day, especially if you're locked in an office and sitting at a desk. There's nothing quite like it. Right, Gloria?
Yes. That's true. I mean, the lighting, the air conditioning, that we're in a locked room, not locked room, but in a closed room, there's not any, the circulation just isn't the same as getting out into the fresh air.
Absolutely.
Are you insinuating I'm locking you into this? Ladies and gentlemen, nothing could be further from the truth. Anyway, this has been a really fun interview. Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you, Gloria. What an awesome job you're doing. Keep up the good work, and we may call on you, for some health tips in the future. Absolutely. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Gloria.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming in.
Well, folks, that completes our interview today. I hope you enjoyed hearing Tanya talk about the holistic health and life coaching that she offers. Please pick up the phone and call her. Number again is 407-595-1007, and get hooked up and get healthy. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
We are News Radio 1550 AM and 106.3 FM. WNZF Bunnell. WBHQ HD3 Beverly Beach, Palm Coast, Flagler Beach.